Okay. Okay, folks, it is 6:01, so I'm going to call this meeting of the County Board to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Carter. Cowart. Braid. Esri.
Here.
Farney.
Here.
Fava. Fava.
Here.
Furtado.
Here.
Hanauer Friedman. Lokshin.
Here.
Pugh.
Present.
Rodriguez. Rogers.
Present.
Shell.
Present.
Settles.
Present.
Sexton. Solar.
Here.
Vintage Theornot.
Here.
Wiggs.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Eris.
Here.
Cagle.
Here.
Rodriguez. Locke.
All
Here.
right, we have a quorum. All right, for tonight's prayer in the aftermath of the storms that we've experienced, grant courage to the weary, patience to the frustrated, and wisdom to those working to restore our communities. Surround us with supportive hands and the resources that we need to heal. Let's all rise for the pledge, please. Matt, would you please read the notice of the meeting?
Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the County Board, Champaign County, Illinois, will convene on June 18th, 2026, 6:30 p.m. in the Shields Carter Meeting Room, Bennett Administrative Center, 102 East Main Street, Urbana, Illinois, in said county for the purpose of allowing and ordering payments of claims against the county, receiving and acting upon reports of committees, and such other matters as may be brought before said meeting, which said meeting shall continue in session from day to day until the completion of said business.
All right, can I have a motion to approve the agenda? Okay, motion from Sollard, second from Wilson. Is there any discussion? Go ahead.
Could we move communications to the end of the agenda?
All right, is there a second to do that? All right, JJ with a second to that. All in favor of moving communications to the end of the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The same sign, motion carries. All right, all in favor of approve? Yes, go ahead.
I would also like to make a motion to move ARPA up to after public input. The ARPA
Okay.
update. 15A1.
Right, is there a second to that? Second by Lakshin. All in favor of amending the agenda to move ARPA up, you said to a 15, right, after public input?
Turn your mic off.
Oops. 8A.
That'd be 13, okay,
Yeah.
14, no,
15A1 to
15, all right.
A1. I don't know. You can make up a new number.
All right, all in favor of moving ARPA, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Just to make sure, for clarification, you're saying you wanted it after public input, correct?
That is correct.
All right, so that would be that would be item 9A, I guess.
Yes, and it's just 15A1, the update from Kathy.
Sorry?
It was just 15A1, the update from Kathy. The other portions stay within 15. I believe that's what I seconded.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. All in favor of our amended agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. We have an agenda. Okay. Date and time of the next regular meetings are on your current agenda. Moving on to employee recognition. Sorry, folks, I'm losing my spot here. Would the policy chair like to read the resolution?
Yes. Resolution number 2026-131, resolution honoring county employees for years of service. Whereas it is the vision of the Champaign County Board to be a recognized leader in local government, where every official and employee has a personal devotion to excellence in public service and embraces the highest standards of ethics and integrity, which enables Champaign County to provide the best customer services to its citizens. And whereas one element of pursuing this vision is communicating to employees that their service to Champaign County is valued and appreciated. And whereas Champaign County employees admirably serve the people of Champaign County with full commitment to the responsibilities of county offices, work in partnership with fellow employees and county officials, and have dedication to the best interests of all the people of Champaign County. And whereas the Champaign County Board wishes to recognize the dedication and service of the employees who have reached 5, 15, 20, 25, and 30-year milestones in June 2026, now therefore be it resolved that the County Board of Champaign County hereby recognizes each of the aforementioned Champaign County employees as an asset to the citizens of Champaign County and expresses gratitude and sincere appreciation for their years of service. Presented, adopted, approved, and recorded this 18th day of June, AD 2026. Are there any members here who are going to be honored tonight? Katie Barber? Okay. Caitlin Barber, County Clerk and Recorder, 5 years of service.
You can see Katie dreading this already. I love it. The Champaign County Clerk's Office is proud to celebrate Katie Barber's 5 years of service to the people of Champaign County. Katie served as a young election judge before joining the elections department as an employee. Katie is one of the most passionate and dependable people when it comes to elections. She was able to blend the experience of serving as an election judge, and that helped inform her work as an elections clerk. Katie became the vote by mail lead and was able to transform the process coming off the heels of the pandemic. When I say Katie knows vote by mail, I mean she knows vote by mail. She treats voter accessibility very seriously and is always looking for ways to improve. Katie is the model of a young professional, the kind that the county should be proud to have working on behalf of the people. Katie is now a member of the admin team with a focus on communications, technical support, and outreach. So if you have seen us at an event with a table of information, then you have probably seen Katie Barber. Katie is willing to help anyone do anything, myself included. And as you can see this evening, she's hiding in the corner, but she's helping clerk county board meetings now as well. Katie, just on a personal note, Katie was married at the courthouse, and when we surprised her, which Matt Cross was part of that, with flowers and treats on her wedding day, she was such a great sport, even when the photographer confused me for her mom. On another personal note, Katie is now a new mom and has handled that transition from a young professional to a professional working mom pretty easily. And even if it isn't, you've made it look that way. She worked during the 2026 primary election up until the day before she delivered. It was inspiring and terrifying all at the same time. So this is what we mean when we say she is a dedicated employee. And even after she had the baby, she continued to call to make sure we didn't need anything, and we had to repeatedly reassure her that we were all going to be just fine. Katie now brings this sweet little baby angel to work every day. Katie, congratulations on this milestone, and we are so glad you're part of the team. One day, when your baby's older, I'm going to tell him how awesome you are. Thanks, and congratulations, Katie.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to say a couple of words about Katie because when she came to us early on as an election judge, I didn't know who she was. I didn't know what she represented, but she worked at the union, so it was quite a busy place, and I didn't know what to expect. But when she came in to interview for us, we thought she would be a great hire, great addition to the team, and she has certainly proven that. She earned a extra mile award that we did during our all-staff meeting just a couple of months ago because of what Angie mentioned earlier. Not only just dedicated, coming to work while pregnant, but she just couldn't stay away. So the day before election, here she is, and then it was all the drama around the election that put her into to labor, I think is what it was. But she is a valued member of our team, and Champaign County is lucky to have her as an employee to represent you. So thank you all. You'll have a great evening. Katie, we love you.
Anchi Lin, State's Attorney, 5 years of service. Brian Hempel, State's Attorney, 5 years of service. Rachel Hatter, Circuit Clerk, 5 years of service.
Good evening. Rachel could not be with us this evening because she is at home taking care of her 3 boys. And I know that sounds like a play on my 3 sons, but in her case, it's actually true. Rachel came to us from Walmart, and as anybody knows who's been to any Walmart anywhere in the United States of America, if you can provide customer service there, you can do it anywhere. Rachel has been a tremendous asset to our office, and she has, in the interim period, gone back to school and is now working on her bachelor's degree so that she can become a teacher. I'm so proud of her because she has not only put in really hard work at the office, and as John Hall can attest, she works on ordinance violations, which is a very difficult task. She has also been exemplary in her schoolwork and has now dedicated herself to her student teaching and ultimately what will be her teaching career. So I'm sorry that she could not be here tonight so that you all could express your appreciation to her, but she wanted to thank you for what you are doing in honor of what she has done for the public and for my office, and thank you for recognizing what has been really good work by her.
Christopher Hamill, Sheriff, 15 years of service. Brian Snyder, Sheriff, 20 years of service. Chad Beasley, Sheriff, 25 years of service. And Randy Castile, Sheriff, 30 years of service. Can I have a motion? Wait, did we already do that?
We need a second.
We're good?
We'll take you as the motion.
Well, okay. We're good. We need a second. We're good.
Loction.
We just vote. Loction second. Thank you. Okay.
All right. Before we vote on this, I do want to point out that the 4 members of the Sheriff's Department comprise 90 years of service to Champaign County. That is an extraordinary length of time for 4 individuals. All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on to public input. I have 1 slip. If there are folks in the audience that would like to speak, they need to fill out a public input form and bring that down to me. The slip I have is for Deanna Easton.
Hi. Deanna Easton, president of Payne's Pride. We're just changing the zoning for our industrial building space for to have a new tenant move in to make it available for the tenant. That's it.
Thank you. Have another slip for Gabriel D, I believe.
Hi, name is Gabriel Dunn. I live in Urbana. The reason I was wanting to address you is I've had the fortunate or misfortunate, depends on your perspective, of seeing like past county board meetings, and I kind of like want to talk as a resident of Champaign County and as a taxpayer of accountability towards elected officials, and to put aside the partisanship. I have seen that there's someone who's been elected who has is not fit for his office, and it is very sad that this body cannot impeach like our state legislator was able to impeach Rod Blagojevich when he was guilty of a similar wrongdoing. I don't understand the politics. If someone is that well not liked and it is not doing their duty, I don't understand why it's feasible just to censure someone and then but then say, well, support him in the general election, and then they end up getting reelected, and now we're having it now. My whole thing is, like, we have a legislative committee come up. I really think that if this is a prohibition on local offices of being able to remove public officials due to corruption and wrongdoing in violation of their oath of office, then I definitely think that needs to be happen. As well, 2028 is coming around. I'm not going to mention that elected official's name, but he needs to be opposed either in the Democratic primary or in the general. But there's no excuse of saying like, oh, well, we're just going to slap him on the hand and say we don't really like him, and then pretend like, oh, that's going to do anything. It isn't. So either let's get this let's see about removing this person from office instead of like just trying to eliminate the office of auditor. So we can actually have like a functioning auditing office that can actually be a watchdog for the taxpayers. It is unfortunate that the duties of an elected auditor is being taken over by the executive. That is not checks and balances. So if it's about one person, you need to get rid of that one person, not get rid of the office. And so we got a couple years, but that person needs to be replaced. So thank you.
Thank you. Seeing as I have no other slips, that will close public input. Right, on our amended agenda, now we will be moving on to our ARP update. Kathy, do you want to come up?
Good evening. We included the normal monthly updates, and we also included an updated memo for perhaps reallocation of certain funds or that discussion of where funds are at. I wanted to mention that on the revenue and expense projection sheet, we've added a column so that you know what payments are in process or what amounts are in process since payments cleared the financials in the 2026 columns. So we have 3 columns there now so that you know what is in process. It may not have cleared the financials yet. And I'd be happy to try to address specific topics if you have some.
Questions from the board? Ms. Carter?
Has the sleep program been extended to other parts of Champaign County?
Yes, currently they have purchased equipment, lighting and security equipment to help additional areas, and we asked which areas those include. They've at least purchased those equipment and will be working with agencies in the community to disperse those in underserved neighborhoods. So we have that question out, and Lisa's out this week, but we do have that question underway.
Right, because I got a call today from a constituent, and RPC doesn't know that. So I don't know if it's lack of communication, or I don't know. They told them that they're just servicing Rantoul, and I was confused because I thought it was extended to outside just Rantoul, and I told her to call somebody else, and that's what she did, and then she got the correct information. So hopefully everyone at RPC knows that as well. Thank you.
You.
Thank you. On those same lines, I'd mentioned this before, but can we put together some kind of program or whatever where people can install these? Because I'm just, once again, thinking that people are going to take these, are going to get them. I know they're going to be out at Jetty Roads Day coming up on Saturday after next. This one, I'm sorry. And I'm afraid that people are just going to get them and they're just going to sit on people's tables, desk, chair, whatever, and that'd be great if we could actually put something together using the same money to actually install them.
Lisa had mentioned that if someone wanted to install, it would be part of this program still, even if it's in a different neighborhood. So we can confirm that, but that was the plan.
Stephanie?
Just like a point of information, are the other 2 parts of ARPA we're doing at the end? Okay.
My thought was that we were moving this portion with Kathy up. I didn't hear that we were moving both of them. Was that the desire? Okay, all right, it's not.
No, but unfortunately, Kathy, I do think you need to stick around for that other part, because if we're going to be giving direction, it's going to be to you.
Any other questions from the board for Kathy at this point? I'm sure there will be a lot later. All right, thank you very much. All right, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? JJ with the motion, second by Shell. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Carter?
Yes.
Stewart? Esri?
Yes.
Farney?
Yes.
Fava?
Yes.
Furtado?
Yes.
Lakshan?
Yes.
Pugh?
Yes.
Rodriguez? Yes. Rogers?
Yes.
Shell?
Yes.
Settles?
Yes.
Sexton? Solar?
Yes.
Banish Theornot?
Yes.
Wiggs?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Eris?
Yes.
Cagle?
Yes.
Locke?
Yes.
Passes. Thank you very much. All right. Next, can I get approval of the minutes for the May 21st, 2026 meeting? Okay, I see Jeff with a motion. Second for Ms. Settles. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Same sign, motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to standing committees, for Environment and Land Use, summary of the action taken at the June 4th meeting is received and placed on file. Highway and Transportation, summary of action taken at the June 5th highway meeting is received and placed on file. Areas of responsibility, summary of action taken at the June 9th Committee of the Whole meeting is received and placed on file. Justice and Social Services, would the Justice and Social Services Chair make the committee's recommendation for item number 1?
I moved for adoption of resolution number 2026-132, establishing a reentry council.
I have a second from Chair Locke. Is there discussion? Mr. Pugh.
Thank you. Just a few things here. I'll just ask a quick question of anybody on the board. Has anybody talked to anybody in any of the reentry programs at all, or reentry community members? Looks like no. I actually did have a chance this last Juneteenth on Saturday to talk to quite a few of them. They haven't heard about this, or maybe I think one person said they maybe saw an email. They had concern because the last council, as they put it, was mostly law enforcement and maybe some court services attached to that. And they didn't feel welcome. They didn't feel like they wanted to be there. And they're very skeptical of this going forward. So I don't know how to do this actually, so maybe some help. I would like to make a friendly amendment to this, that at least half the people on this council are from community reentry groups, or actually community members that are invested in reentry in this community, so it just doesn't get to be a whole bunch of cops and community court services sitting around. And that's what I have.
Is there a second to Member Pugh's? Right? Thank you. I think Lorraine was first. Lorraine has a second. Is there discussion? Chair Locke.
As the only person in this room who was a member of the prior council, I can tell you that that's verifiably untrue, that it was mostly law enforcement. There was one law enforcement representative from Urbana. To the extent that the jail is a representative of the sheriff's department, there was one representative from the jail who attended, was not a member of the council, but she was there actively helping people get into reentry as they left the jail. Treatment providers were the bulk of it. The chair, the co-chair of the last reentry council was from Champaign County Healthcare Consumers, and the other co-chair was from Rosecrans. You'll note neither of those are law enforcement. They are, in fact, community service providers. As a technical point, we can't invite people to a council that does not exist. We cannot do that yet. So no one has reached out to say, hey, join our council, because it doesn't exist yet. So I'm a no on this amendment because, as we discussed ad nauseum last time, you need to get together, you need to get the people together to invite them there, but the council can't exist until then. So, but I couldn't let it go that it was all law enforcement. It was not.
Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Chair, Executive. I like the language as written. There is a provision that says additional members may be included as needed to support the work of the council. I would trust the council to determine the need for additional members and allow those members to be included as needed. And the second part is the purpose of this is the reentry council shall focus on identifying gaps, barriers, opportunities related to reentry, improving coordination. And that's the focus. The focus of this group, even though law enforcement is included, is not to increase barriers, make it more difficult for reentry, but to identify those gaps, I assume mostly in process gaps, and then figure out how to deal with it. So I like the language as written, and I like the additional sentences, additional members may be included as needed to support the work of the council, so I'm not supporting the friendly amendment.
Is there any further discussion for the amendment? You've brought the amendment forward. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm just saying from the people I talk to in the community, which were quite a few, about reentry, they are very skeptical about this going forward from what happened before and how things have been handled in the last few years. And that's why I made that amendment. It sounded like it was a very good thing for most of them, that at least they are not going to be overwhelmed with other people, that the actual people who are doing the work in the community are not going to be put out. And that's why I'm putting the amendment forward.
Right, I'm not seeing any other hands, so all in favor of the amendment put forward by Member Pugh, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign.
No.
Motion fails. Is there any further discussion for the amendment as in your packet? Not seeing any, so all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Right, moving on. Policy, personnel, and appointments. Would the policy chair like to make the committee's recommendation for item number 1?
Yes, adoption of resolution number 2026-133, establishing a legislative committee. Can I get a motion? Mr. Suller, can I get a second? Ms. Furtado? Discussion?
Point of order.
Yep.
Steve should be doing those parts, Beth.
Oh,
You just have to
sure.
make the motion.
Sorry.
You've made the motion, Beth, but JJ, then you have the second. So thank you very much. All right. All right. We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Mr. Pugh.
Thank you. Once again, we have state representatives, state senators, even an actual county board lobbying group we are not utilizing. And we're going to create another committee, which will have to pay the people on it. And we're under a supposedly structural deficit again. We're not even using the resources we have right now in front of us. So I don't know why we're doing this, so no, thank you.
Zollard, go ahead.
I just have a question. If we need to clarify in the therefore paragraph that it is be a standing committee, just organizationally, do we need to make an amendment for that purpose? I know we don't have to, but would it be clearer to do so? Throwing that out there as a general question if anyone wants to.
I think you could also clarify it at the organizational meeting because you have to reapprove the bylaws. So you would add it as a standing committee in the new bylaws.
Okay.
Oh.
That's helpful. Thank you. I did also want to say, like, if there are members on this board who are not able to have communications with their state folks, can't help you with that. Some of us do talk to our state legislators.
Furtado.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this committee, and I just I wanted to thank Senator Faraci, who I had some really good conversations with on Tuesday about a bunch of different issues, and just I appreciate his collaboration with the county, and I think that this would be an opportunity to forward that with both him and with our other legislators.
Mr. Wilson.
I like the resolution, and I believe it provides an additional venue opportunity for the county and whoever wants to be engaged in the legislative committee to be more informed of the impact that the state has on each county, particularly our county. And so I'm in favor of this, and I applaud those that created this.
Any further comments? Questions? All right. Motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The same sign. Motion carries. Right. Beth, would you like to make the committee's recommendation for item number 2?
Adoption of Resolution Number 2026-134, appointing James Johnson Jr. to the Edge Scott Fire Protection District, term ending 4/30/2029.
Can we have a second? Second by Esri. Motion and a second. Any discussion? JJ.
Yeah, I noticed this isn't on consent, and I'm wondering if there was something that we missed at the committee meeting, or if there was a reason why one member of this board chose to vote no on this applicant. I want to just make sure we're not missing something.
No, sir. They all seem like fine people, and I'll vote yes today.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Beth, would you please make a motion for committee's recommendation for items number 3 through 7?
Adoption of Resolution Number 2026-135, appointing Stacy Bergmeyer to the Bailey Memorial Cemetery Association, term 7/1/2026 to 6/30/2032. Adoption of Resolution Number 2026-136, appointing Gregory Burr to the Locust Grove Cemetery Association, term 7/1/2026 to 6/30/2032. Adoption of Resolution Number 2026-137, appointing Bill Roth to the Mount Olive Cemetery Association, term 7/1/2026 to 6/30/2032. Adoption of Resolution Number 2026-138, appointing Daryl Schiff to the Mount Olive Cemetery Association, term 7/1/2026 to 6/30/2032. And adoption of Resolution Number 2026-139, appointing Marcus Shaw to the Prairie View Cemetery Association, term 7/1/2026 to 6/30/2032.
Can I have a second? All right, second by Cagle. Is there a discussion? Ms. Furtado.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Mr. Burr, Mr. Ruth, Mr. Schiff, and Mr. Shaw for their service. This kind of work is important for preserving the history of our county, but also preserving the continued dignity of these folks that are buried in these sites. It's the kind of job that doesn't get a lot of attention. It involves a lot of just making sure things are cleaned up and taken care of, and I think it's just part of our legacy and responsibility to generations past. So I want to thank them for their service.
Thank you. All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Beth, you want to make the committee's recommendation for item number 8?
Adoption of Resolution Number 2026-140, appointing Mindy Brand to the Forest Preserve District, term 7/1/2026 to 6/30/2031.
Can I have a second, please? All right. Second by Wiggs. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Chair Vanish Thurna, you want to make committee's recommendation for item number 9?
Adoption of Resolution Number 2026-141, appointing Chris Diana R. to the Board of Review, term ending 5/31/2028.
Can I have a second? All right. Second by Esri. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Beth. All right. Would the Finance Vice Chair like to make the committee's recommendation for item number 1?
I move adoption of Resolution Number 2026-142, authorizing award of contract to American Environmental Corporations, LLC, for the All Hazard Mitigation Plan update pursuant to RFP 2026-003.
Is there a second? Second again by Wiggs. I think you edged him out. Any discussion? Go ahead, JJ.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on this after the weather that we've had over the last week. This shows how important this is. And I'm disappointed that someone voted against it in committee of the whole. This should have been on consent agenda because this is a no-brainer. And some of us, evidently, we don't know what we're voting on, or we have some personal grudge against the sheriff since the EMA is in there. But once again, this is going to help our entire community.
See any hands? So all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I move adoption of resolution number 2026-143, amending the Board of Review member job description and salary schedule.
All right, is there a second? Second from Locke. Is there any discussion? Go ahead, Michelle.
I just wanted to point out the two small edits. We just clarified that the additional chair stipend is paid proportionally. It's not a lump sum payment. And we also just clarified the effective start date. Those are two requests from our payroll department for the clarity that we're trying to accomplish with this resolution in the first place.
Megan was able to get an updated resolution on the packet, which was much appreciated. All right. Any discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. I'd like to make an amendment to strike the third bullet from the resolution.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to amend the agenda. Is there further discussion of the amendment? Not seeing any. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Motion fails. All right. Any further discussion of the resolution? Go ahead, Jeff or Mr. Pugh.
Jeff, almost there. Yeah, I'm just against this still because I understand we cut the salary a little bit because a person's coming in new, so we don't have to pay them as much. But then we take that money right away and give it kind of as a bonus raise to somebody else. Like I said, I've heard structural deficit, structural deficit, structural deficit for months on end. We don't have the money. We have to cut personnel. We have to cut services. But in the last few months, all we have done is give out raises to people. So I guess when the budget meetings come up, I guess we have plenty of money. We don't have to cut services or personnel. We're fine. The county is great. It's solid. I don't know what the News Gazette is saying. Thank you.
Discussion? Seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Motion passes. Right. Can I get a motion to approve adoption of resolution 2026-144 authorizing payment of claims? Okay, we have a motion by Jamala, second by Cagle. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, can I get a motion to approve the adoption of resolution 2026-145 purchases not following purchase policy? Again, Cagle, second by Locke. Is there any discussion? Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. Line item number 1 or row 1, Children's Advocacy Center. Sir, an explanation with respect to the bid being over $10,000 up to $17,000 and why there were not 3 bids?
I think you should reach out to the director of the CAC and ask them specifically.
So you're saying you don't know? Okay. Maybe is that normal practice then for a state's attorney to do this? And no one knows that answer either, I see.
Mr. Locke.
some months ago, you may recall it came on our agenda, this will probably be back in the spring, where Ms. Reitz and Dr. Lisa came and explained the need for relatively quick motion on adding cubicles and private space so that when they're interviewing children about horrific crimes committed against the children wouldn't be in the same play area as other children who were just there, or as other adults who may be there with the children, so that there can be private space. We granted them quite a bit of money at that time, with plans that they provided to us at the time that had already been written. Why Ms. Reitz and Dr. Lisa did not come to us or did not bid that out is a question for them. Just as a point of information, like, we wouldn't know about it until it's on this report, and the executive's office wouldn't know about it until it's on this report, because they are department heads in charge of their own budgets. So it's not a failing of anyone in this room that we're learning about it in this report. This is in fact the way it's supposed to work.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve adoption of Resolution 2026-146, approving an intergovernmental agreement between Animal Control and Impound Services with the Village of St. Joseph? JJ, second by Esri. I can see where they're interested deeply. Is there any discussion about this? I will say that Animal Control is doing a very good job working on these IGAs. They've changed their payment structure. They've reduced their fund balance significantly, but in talking with the director, I think once these are in place, there'll be a good balance between services provided and revenue. So they've just done an outstanding job in terms of making sure that they're being fiscally responsible as they don't get general revenue fund dollars. Go ahead, Mr. Pugh.
Thank you. Would you say that's probably because of the software we bought them, was it 2 years ago now? Yeah.
That would be.
I know there was a lot of backlash against that software, but it's already proving dividends right now.
Personally, I don't recall a lot of backlash regarding it, but I think the software has allowed them to keep track of their spending in a way that they weren't able to before. So it has been very beneficial. I would certainly grant you that. All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, can I get a motion to approve the adoption of Resolution 2026-147, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between Champaign County and Champaign Township for information technology services? Can I get a motion? Motion from Sollard, second by Crane. Is there any discussion? Cagle, did you? Sorry. Yes. Second by Cagle, not Crane. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, now on to other business. We've moved the ARPA update. I'm looking to the audience. Do we have a representative from Volo? All right, Mr. Folk is here. Why don't you go ahead and come up to the microphone if you would? I'm sure members of the board have some questions. Right, Chair Locke, go ahead.
So this isn't actually going to be much of a question for you, Peter. I'm going to kind of brief the board and then the public also. One of our big concerns was the ability of the project to go forward if the easements have not all been obtained yet, and if they'd have to go to the court. So I took it upon myself to reach out to Volo's attorney, who's handling this, to find out where we are and what's going to happen. especially because in phase one, the easement acquisition was pretty slow. So I spoke with Volo's attorney, and she advised me that while in phase one, actually, I'll back up. She advised me that Volo can obtain the easements through an Illinois statute called the Quick Take statute. It's a part of eminent domain. It's Article 20 of the Eminent Domain Act. And that works by Volo being able to go before a judge and say, hey, here's our project. I'm here on behalf of the government. This is the value that we have. We have an appraisal of the property. This is what we think it's worth for our easement. This is an important project. Please give us permission. We put the money up into bond of what we think the appraisal's worth. The judge can figure it out then, or they can figure it out later, but they can grant Volo access to the land that day. So the way this works, when we heard, oh, it'll take 60 days, 30 to 60 days to get these easements once they go to court, we all thought that was crazy. I thought that was crazy. But I've spoken with their lawyer who does this work in Illinois and Indiana because they have very similar statutes for easement, eminent domain. And she advised me she's spoken to local attorneys. She found out which judges this would be before how it's going, or how it's been handled by them in the past, how to best get your case set before these judges, those little soft skills. She also advised that she has it's 5 days notice to the person. So once Volo has they realize they're going to need the easements to go through the court, they'll put it before the court. The hearing is within 5 to 30 days typically, and then Volo can keep going that day. So while their schedule seems aggressive, it's not impossible. Their timeline is based on actual dockets, both in this county and similar counties in Illinois, using the quick take process. So they believe that it can still be done. She says their internal timeline is streamlined for drop dead dates on the ones where they need to finish it with the court. So they believe that even if they have to go to court on a number of these easements, that it should be done. Now, that's obviously the salesman in her representing her client, but it gave a lot more peace. No offense, Mr. Falk. You're very smart scientifically, but we came away nervous. So for whatever that's worth, I was worried, and I'm less worried now, and realizing we don't have a huge backup plan for what would happen if we yanked this money. I'm wishing Volo the best, and that's my piece.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Emily.
No problem. Jen, did you get a sense of, I don't know, that this strategy was something that was newfound, or was that?
No, I believe that, so in phase 1A, or in the phase one, Ms. Ricker, the attorney, advised that they didn't complete appraisals unless and until it was clear they would need them. Whereas in phase 2, which is the one where all the easements still need to be obtained, they're doing appraisals now as they go. Each property that they think they might need, like each property that they're looking at, they're not waiting to find out if the landowner is agreeable. They're doing the appraisal now, and then if an easement comes in, they stop that appraisal and they move on. So Mr. Falk, how many teams of appraisers do you have?
We have 3 teams of appraisers. Each team has committed to 3 appraisals per day. So that's a lot of appraisals. And what we expect them all to get appraised. We're not, the idea of pulling them out, we will if it comes to that, but we don't expect that to be a bottleneck, and we just want to get that part done. It's not so much that the appraisal delays things, it's that uncertainty delays things. And so when we go to what we found is that when we actually got to the point where we were ready to move forward with litigation in phase 1, almost everybody settles. So what we want to do is we want to get to the point where we can put that chip on the table as absolutely soon as possible, and that's about July 15th. And we will be working with the people along the path in that time frame to, we strongly prefer a non-litigious process. We want to know what their concerns are, and we want to ameliorate those concerns. That was our primary focus in phase one, is not pissing people off. Probably we focused more than we should have on that, but we learned that lesson. And while we still want to not piss people off, we know that if we come to them with a strong position and a relatively fixed time frame, they need to make a decision and move forward. And if it ends up in court, it ends up in court, and we believe that process will also be amenable to this project. We want to avoid it, but we have a positive path both ways. And yet there is also a third or even a fourth path where we can reroute the project if we, for some reason, decide we have to, which we've done numerous times in phase one. You know, somebody on one side of the road doesn't want it, and the guy on the other side of the road does want it. We move it, and then we don't have to go to court. We don't have to fight with people, and we end up with everybody happy.
Thank you. So to wrap up my comments, and I'm happy to hear that we're learning lessons from the last phase. I do want to communicate, I mean, in caucus, there's a lot of concern on this, of course, and I'm sure that's not lost on you. You've heard that in the past meeting. I want to underline that concern and really put a finer point to it. I mean, this is money that we do not want to send back to an presidential administration who we believe operates in clear opposition to the very basic values of our community and board. I think you can go district by district and confirm that. So I want to underline, when we say that we are considering taking the money back, right, that's the concern. And I don't think that would be a tough argument to make after a certain point. So I suppose, I know this is on information only, but I as vice chair, I wanted to at least communicate that.
I fully recognize that as a critical value for the board. At some point, I would like to, though, put it in context. Should I do that now, or should I? So I want to. Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind, and I'm here not dressed up. Usually, when I come to these things, I try to look at least a little bit respectable. Today, I came dressed as I normally do every day because I build networks. I mean, that's what we do, and I build and run networks. And that's what this is about. This is about building a network for Champaign County for the next 50 years for the rural areas of Champaign County. And Phase 2A is not that. Phase 2A is an opportunity to advance that. It's a critical link in the chain, but it is only the second of a surprisingly, a fairly long process. At the end of Phase 2A, there will be millions, tens of millions of dollars of work left to do, and probably hundreds of thousands of hours of effort and sweat that you need from a partner like Volo. And we more than any of you, we find this a golden opportunity. This money, we want to put every dollar to the absolute maximum use we can. And I think, well, you don't want to give it back to the federal government. I don't want to give it back I want it in the ground. I want it doing the job that we are all here excited about. That to me is the thing that we need to keep our eye on, because this is an amazing opportunity. The task force did a fantastic job of identifying a path for multiplying grant funds over the course of multiple rounds and ending up with way more than you ever would have done. And this is one of the links. This is the second link. There is a third coming directly from Volo that will not be able to happen if this is canceled. And then after that is Phase 2B, which, we're not guaranteed that, but we think it's pretty likely, and it's even bigger. It's bigger than Phase 2A and 2B combined. This is a link in the process, and we absolutely are committed to putting every dollar to work, our own and yours. And that to me is where I want our minds to be as you guys think about what to do.
One more question, I'm so sorry. And this is my last one. Can you tell us where we are material-wise? Do we have everything that we need that will be eventually put into the ground, or do you see any possible delays in getting the materials that we need?
We don't see significant concerns about that. We have the supply chains lined up. That's going to be the work of July, is getting all that stuff in.
Go ahead. Ms. Benish, they're not.
Thank you. When you say you have 3 teams doing 3 appraisals per day, do you mean that's 9 appraisals total per day, or do you mean that the 3 teams will each do 1 appraisal a day?
These teams are working for our attorneys, so I don't have the contracts with me, but my impression is 9 appraisals per day. 3 teams, 3 appraisals per day.
So that would be roughly a month for them to get that done? Is that something you would be willing to commit to?
I can't. I'm happy to commit to having all of the appraisals completed within by the middle of July.
Okay.
Ms. Carter.
Unfortunately, this board is not known to work well with others, but I really, just looking at you, wish that this would have been a collaborative effort, not just you. So it's not just on you and your company. You know, I hope that everything is done and completed in a timely fashion. I don't know. I'm wishing you the best, but I don't know about this. And I'm hoping that we don't have to return that money. But I just think that some of the stress would have been alleviated off of you and your business if it wasn't just you. But the way that they put this out here was that they only wanted 1, right? And so you weren't given that option, but that's very unfortunate for you. But I'm wishing you the best of luck. Thank you.
I will say it is a collaborative effort. We have a great team at Finley. They have, they've I think doubled the team size for this part of the project. We have a great team at SKO. They've tripled the team that is working on it. We've tripled our internal team. We ended up selecting 2 contractors because they were both really good and had good prices as well. And while I would have loved, there was originally another partner, and I think they would have been interesting to work with. They're a very different company than ours, but as you know, they backed out, and I'm not unhappy to be in this seat. I'm very proud to be doing this for the county. It's been a long mission, and it's going to be a long process. And I think none of the other partners that you would ever find, none of the people that applied for that thing, are committed to this kind of thing in the way that we are.
Once again, I just wish it would have been more of a collaborative effort from both of you, not just you. Because now it's like, okay, we got to get it done, or the money's going back. And that's stressful. You cannot tell me that it's not stressful. So I just wish it would have started off differently. Yep. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Cagle.
Not sure if this is for Kathy or who, but what, in terms of POs that Volo needs to submit to us, so they gave us at the broadband committee, they gave us their burn chart and kind of their anticipated expenditures over time. Is that once we receive the PO that kind of counts as the allocation, or is it when we cut the check? Can we kind of clarify a little bit of that, just so we've got kind of expectations set? Because I think for Peter's perspective here, it's if he can wait weeks, months, what's that look like?
So there's a component in the contract that allows for reimbursement and advance payments to them. So with the with the payment that we're looking at right now, for example, part of it is reimbursement, and the majority will be advanced for the next part. They submit a reporting form that we have for the Department of Treasury's data. They also submit a general ledger of all their expenses and receipts and invoices for those expenses as well. We also had additional reporting at the beginning of the contract for risk assessment and other information. But at least we require the financials from all the expenditures so far and what will be in the future once they've spent.
Perfect. Thank you.
Ms. Furtado, then Mr. Wilson.
I have one question to follow up on that question to Kathy, and then I have a few questions for you, Peter. Kathy, the requirement of receipts and invoices, so like, for example, like subcontractor receipts and invoices, I mean, not just for this project, but across the board, is that a Department of Treasury requirement?
So that was an auditor department requirement when we first had the ARPA funds dispersed to us.
Like our auditor?
Mm-hmm.
I guess my question is, so I've done a lot of federal grants before. I've done a lot of reporting on federal grants before, millions of dollars. At no time has the Fed ever asked for receipts and invoices, like, right? Like, you obviously want the PO from whether it's these folks, the city of Champaign, whatever it is, but then to require that drill down to receive, like, this is, I actually didn't realize that until I had a question about Champaign, and I found out that that was one of our requirements. And that actually explains a lot to me on why the expenditures have been so slow. That's not normal, and is not, I mean, like, the different entities having to retain their financial records in case of an audit makes a ton of sense. But us asking for receipts and invoices at that level for projects it was pretty wild to me, actually. And I mean, we're 5 years in, so it is what it is at this point. But that actually explains to me a lot more about why it seems like we have things that are pending for so long. That level of, that's super interesting, is all I'm going to say. I mean, like, that's not, I mean, the Fed, like, if you receive a federal grant, you just fill out a form that says what you spent the money on. There's not that level. So that's super interesting that we are requiring our subgrantees to provide that sort of documented detail is interesting. And that's right into all of their contracts.
Yeah, so it's a general requirement for all the contracts to provide proof of those expenditures.
Right. Well, that explains a lot more, like, process that I think is super helpful. Thank you. So, Peter, I have a couple of questions for you. I really appreciate the memorandum on update. It provides a lot more detail, and I think it's super helpful. And as Jen said, maybe a little bit eases some of the concern off a little bit. I do have just a few, like, just really practical, specific questions. Between the last board and then this meeting, I appreciate the description of how easement process is going to be different. But in that last month, how many easements have actually been secured?
I think current count is 14.
14. Okay, out of 100. Well, that's another question. How many are you anticipating? Because I think there was like 3 different numbers I saw.
Yeah, and it it's a moving target. So at our current count, we only actually need 86.
Okay.
And we actually expect that number to change a little bit as basically as we work with people and drill down into the fine-tuned routing of the stuff, we find ways to optimize the process. And we can, if we have someone who is being responsive and they have an entire 2 miles of frontage, well, we'll move a bunch of easements over to them and that kind of thing. So the process streamlines in that way.
The next question I have is, you on page 141 of our packet, it says that construction is underway in Somer Township. Could you spell that out a little? Like, how much at this point fiber has been laid? Like, how many miles of fiber have you laid?
I should have that number, but I don't have it off the top of my head. It's like maybe 10 or 15 miles, I think, at this point.
And what phase 1A, could you remind me of how many miles that is total?
Phase 1A total is 138 miles, but the ARPA-funded backbone that we're expecting is 35 miles. Finley thinks that we have capacity to do about 80 miles during phase 2A.
I'm on phase 1A, sorry.
Phase 1 is 110. Phase 2A is 138, but of those, 35 are the ones we're focusing on with these grant funds.
So 110, and we have 15 laid so far?
Correct.
I think at the last meeting, you had said that you were going to try to bring on 2 crews. Has that happened? Are those
Yeah,
both
the second cruise starting July 1.
starting? Okay, great.
Yeah.
This is more of a technical question, which I meant to ask you last time. Earlier on in the process, we had a conversation about maybe in some of this, as you're running fiber, to include some strands that maybe could later then be used by the county or other government agencies. Potentially, we could anticipate maybe the university would be interested in some of those things, especially with some of their extension work. Is that part of the scope of what you're laying?
Yes. So the backbone in phase 1 is 144 count in most places, 288 count in some where there's more branching expected to happen. There's, I think, over half of that is unallocated capacity for future expansion for things like that. And we have, while we haven't talked with the U of I people who would be committing, at one point for phase 2B, we were planning to work with the U of I and have a kind of joint application. That turned out to not be a good thing. That would have slowed the process down with the state of Illinois.
By about like 5 years, yeah. As somebody who does a lot of purchasing with the U of I, yeah, good call on your part.
But we did allocate the strands because we expect long-term, there's a bunch of U of I farms that we're passing in these. And while right now, most of them are not online at all, if you have a research project and you want to do real-time data collection, having a fiber feedback to your farm is pretty cool.
Right. And I think as we, as a county, continue to sort of expand our partnership to provide IT services with some of our more rural townships, I could anticipate that there would be a need for that as well. So I meant to ask you that last time. One more question. For phase 1, and I think only phase 1, but maybe I'm wrong, phase 1, there is a match requirement from Volo itself. Can you remind me how much that was and how much of that match has been expended?
So Volo's match is fully expended for phase 1, and it was 1 point something million, if I recall.
Okay.
It was mostly in existing infrastructure that we are donating to the project that was otherwise not used. Okay. So it wasn't mostly a cash match. There were some components that were cash, and we did that in consultation with the county at that time and refocused our match on phase 2A because we were able to make the numbers really attractive in phase 1 without Volo's match. We were able to hit their top grading, criterion on the grant application scoring rubric without Volo's match because of the county's funds. And instead, we focused our cash match on phase 2A, and it's about $3.5 million, $3.2 million.
Can I ask, maybe this is a question for Kathy, and the reason about that I have a question about the match is reporting on the match part of the requirement to tie this off, Kathy, or is that just extra?
It's not required for ARPA. Just
because especially with like an infrastructure match, like then I'm always curious, like at what point do you count it? Do you have to account for depreciation? Just sometimes accounting for a match can be harder than accounting for expenses. So that's good to know that there's no requirement.
ARPA doesn't require it, but we collect it locally for our records.
Okay, thank you so much. I think that those are all of the questions. I'll say I feel, we've talked. I still think that this is very ambitious. I know that you had said that it's not aspirational. It still feels somewhat aspirational. I appreciate the teeth that has been put into this. I will say you have not pushed me into the optimistic category yet, and I'll be blunt. Hitting the marks by our July meeting is going to be very important. And I mean miles in the ground, that you've hit all of those easements, that you've done those appraisals. For me, we are now to the point in the project where numbers and measurable matrices, or however you say that word, is what I'm looking for. So I think making sure we have something similar to this for our July meeting, but that is very specific for, what's built, what's billed to Kathy's exacting standards, the easements, like the more that I could see numbers, the better. I don't really know that we have a plan B. I don't know if there's a plan B that's viable. But I want to echo my seatmates' sentiment that I really don't want to give any money back on this project. But thank you for this update.
Wilson.
Thank you.
Yes.
For being here. And very much appreciate your effort for the broadband committee and effort and putting this forward. And just for clarification, I had a couple questions. So on phase one, about halfway through the month, ARPA spending is about 269, it looks like. How much of that ARPA 269 have you spent so far in June?
So spending is a trailing indicator.
Yeah.
And I can't, tell you today how much has been spent. We believe we're on track. We're on track with June. We believe we're on track with July. So I don't have invoices or receipts for the stuff that was done this week, last week. We'll have those in time to report them for Kathy at the end of the month. And that's where we'll be. And similarly, Stephanie, we probably won't have things we definitely won't have things reported to Kathy by the meeting in July, but we will have a very strong we can say where we're at in all of these metrics, and we can without Kathy being able to say she's got the receipts, because she won't yet, and we won't even have some of the invoices yet for that stuff. We will be able to report where we are on track. And I'll also mention that the paper that you have is a week, two weeks old-ish, roughly. And so for July, my hope is that we will provide both the paper copy and then also a live version that is more up to date, that's maybe only a few days old, so that you can be confident in where we're at as of the meeting instead of as of 2 weeks before the meeting, which is really only like 2 weeks from now.
So following, may I continue? Yeah, I'll wait for you.
I'm sorry, yes.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
So phase one, phase 2A, 493,000 in July, phase one for materials. So that's really just placing the order.
Yeah, that's a lot of orders. There's a lot of orders.
It's a lot of orders.
Yes.
But placing an order for materials is not that challenging, it's just doing it, right? So that's high likelihood all the material that you plan to purchase in July for phase one is going to happen.
Yes, I would say extremely high likelihood.
Since that's a large portion of the 1.2 million for
Yes.
July. Okay.
I believe it's closer to 1.5.
And then likewise, phase 2A, almost 90% or more is based on material purchases, $1.7 million.
Yes.
And so to buy that material, are you already drafted the purchase orders? You already got your bids? All you got to do is just cut the PO, or where are you with that?
Yeah, we have quotes from most of the suppliers for most of the things already, and we're in the process of making those purchases.
And you're ordering beginning of month, middle of month, end of month, or throughout the month?
These things take some time, so it's throughout the month, from now through, from last week through then, through now. We are putting those orders together, and I think there's 2 RFPs that are involved, and they will be closed by that time. So as I said in the presentation, we expect to have those all committed by the end of July, and we will be executing them throughout July.
Are they sole source or competitively bid on material?
Everything's competitive. We always get at least 3 quotes, but we have a pretty good understanding from phase 1 of the scope of the vendors, the procurement requirements for orders under 250, 350,000, I think. That's what requires 3 bids instead of a more formal RFP process. So most of the purchases are under that. And so they don't require a long process, but they do require competitive process. Everything's competitive.
Okay. Well, obviously July, like my colleague said, is a huge month because there's tremendous amount of spend in July, which would be a good indicator of the success of the project, having the materials ordered. Delivered too, I would hope. And then looks like construction begins in August for the backbone on phase 2.
Yeah, so in the broadband task force meeting, you'd asked for a somewhat more granular layout of that. And I think that if we could jump to slide 4 there. So the light blue is the construction, the dark blue is the splicing. And while those do not have numbers in each of the bars, each of those represents a certain number of feet and hand holes and cable feet and duct feet and that kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I asked for at the broadband committee. Thank you. And then, so on the equipment, that's equipment rentals, equipment purchase.
It's equipment purchase.
Equipment what?
Equipment purchase, and we're going to have more detail on that at the July meeting. We needed to finalize kind of what we're putting forward for that purchase. We want to get counties or the task force at least thoughts on it.
All right. And looks like construction's fairly evenly paced, except for in September. You have a ramp up on construction, then you back down. Other costs like legal, et cetera, it's the standard monthly fee I see.
It's not exactly a standard monthly fee. Those simple bars hide a bunch of projections about what we're going to be doing in each of those months, but they end up being fairly regular.
All right, thank you very much. That's very helpful. I think that helps the public and helps us understand better how the project is moving. At least it looks like there's a success path. You probably already had in the back of your mind. We just were curious. And then one final question will help me on the easements. And maybe for the public too. What is the definition of a problem parcel?
A problem parcel is one where either the property owner believes the value to be much, much higher, or they require a process that's not compatible with the construction that we're planning to do, or they simply don't want any part of it. That's what I would call a problem parcel. Those are all things that we want to address with them and find a path forward that works for everybody. But in the end, we may not be able to see eye to eye.
All right, that's the end of my questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Emily?
This is more directed to staff, but I just checked in with Stephanie. I don't think that this is available on the website yet. I mean, I think even to the broadband task force. This presentation is on the broadband. I guess my question is, because we're referencing this obviously in public, it might make sense to include this in the agenda items or the attached materials?
It has been emailed to the county. I'm sure that they will get it to you and include it in public.
Wonderful. Just want to make sure
it just wasn't ready
access.
until
This slide in particular
this
is really enlightening to me, so thank you.
Great. There's I think one other thing that Jeff actually had asked about. So you had a concern about, signups and that kind of thing. And I wasn't really prepared for it in the meeting, in the task force meeting, so I wanted to address it more here. We're not focused on that at this point because that's not the ball in play. If we don't get it built, all those signups are pointless. And as the project moves forward, if I come to you and say, hey, would you like to sign up for my internet in a year? Like, that's a kind of a weird question. And who knows what you're going to want in a year? Who knows? For a lot of Champaign County, people move, like I think 30% turnover or something like that. They don't even know if they're going to be there. So having somebody sign a commitment when we aren't ready to install like that day or, a month from now it's just a weird conversation to have. So we definitely collect interest, and there's a ton of interest, but we aren't signing people up because that conversation doesn't really make sense for most people right now.
Stephanie?
One other question that I forgot to ask you. On the chart that you provided for us for the budget of Phase 2A, you had put just under 521,000 for the easements and legal, but that was based on an expectation of 150 backbone parcels. But you have said that that's now 86, which is about half. So theoretically, it should cost about half, which actually is a big chunk of money. It's $250,000. Where do you anticipate that $250,000 would be expended, in which category, since more than likely it would have to be allocated since there won't be as much easement work?
Sure. So first of all, the number of parcels hasn't changed as much as the number of easements. So consolidating easements and that kind of thing has reduced the number of easements while the number of parcels. So the actual amount of work hasn't necessarily decreased. But if everybody decides to not litigate, then we're going to be a lot lower on that. However, this is just the first part, right? This is just the backbone. We have a whole other network that we are pursuing and will look forward to continue working on with any funds available. And then the Finley's projections of our capacity to build exceed the ARPA funding. And so if we had more, if we're under budget in some areas, we will just have them build more stuff.
I think as that chart moves, continuing to provide us updates, would be super helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
Any further questions for Peter? Seeing none, thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, now we are on to reallocation of ARPA funds. You've got a coral colored piece of paper with some of the information on it. This is generally a more informal part. Stephanie?
I have a suggestion. Could we maybe have our deputy finance chair just take us through each of them? And then if board members have a thought about whether we should direct the executive's office to start looking at reallocation or put some sort of deadline on each of these items, you know what I mean? Like somehow express our thoughts on each of these items. JJ, would you be willing to do that? Okay.
Right, so the first one on here is the affordable housing assistance with Cunningham Township that had 22,000 remaining. Is that right, Kathy? And they say the contract ends the end of this month. Is there any further update? Do we feel confident that they're going to get this done by the end of this month?
We do feel confident that they would have all the costs and they would just need to submit the documentation for reporting. All activities have to occur by June 30th. Then soon after, they could submit the reporting to get the reimbursement.
Any other board members have a question about this one or a concern about this one? All right. We'll move on to the next one. The Farm Bureau's $15,875 for the broadband advocacy for the county improvements. That goes through September of this year.
They indicated that so the amount was double that originally, and so the 15,000, the other amount has been spent, and they indicated that they could have 15,000 to reallocate. It would still need to stay in the broadband category and advocacy or promotion of this project of expanding broadband.
Any board member comments on that one? Jen?
I can speak, but I think, do you have your hand raised, Michelle?
I was just going to say, we were going to give it a little bit longer to make sure the Farm Bureau really didn't need it, and then maybe put together some promotional materials from the county on behalf of what the broadband project has done and the next phases of it that are to come, so that we, as the county and you as board members, could share that with the community.
Anybody else on the Farm Bureau? Okay. Finley Engineering for approximately $65,000 remaining, with $48,747 to allocate. That goes through the end of the year for broadband planning, development, coordination to address digital inequities.
And we had originally talked about that could also be lumped in with the Farm Bureau money if needed to promote the project and help coordinate information.
Anyone? Comments? Okay. We just talked about Volo, so do we need to discuss Volo more? No? Okay. Community violence intervention, chamber I read, I count. Looks like they have approximately 80,000 remaining. They say they'll be able to spend it all. Spend needs to be done by the end of the year. What's our plan with them that we've heard?
Yeah, so they indicate, we talked to them last week, that they're still on track. Theirs is a little bit of a later deadline where they would need to spend by the end of the year, but request the funds by November 1st. So they do plan to still be on track.
Yes, Stephanie.
One piece of this is, and this was something we debated in that community violence intervention subcommittee that we had for a very long time. For almost everybody else, we gave them a tighter deadline, but I Read, I Count came to us and they really made the case that they wanted 3 full years of data, because that would allow them to better assess the impact of this program, and I think in part to go after future funding. So it is a later deadline, but as far as I know, they've hit all their deadlines and they've not been concerning. So it was, and they had done other projects through the small business stuff with us, so we had a lot of confidence within as a partner, but we all knew that was a longer deadline, but it was in part based on the sort of data collection of the impact of the program that they were going for. None of our other service providers made that sort of full 3-year request.
Anyone have any other comments on that one? Okay. Crime Stoppers has 46,816 remaining. They say they're going to spend all of that by September 30th.
They did submit a plan this week with details of upping the marketing. We would probably want to request a more frequent submission for reimbursements. We do have their data as of March 31st of this year, so soon they would at least have April through June to reimburse, and then they plan to up it even more to finish out the contract.
Emily.
Can you give us some guidance on just how closely we have to mirror an item in intent and purpose to reallocate funds?
Yeah, there's 2 major components. One is the type of category it's reported under. For example, this would be community violence intervention. The second topic that must be met is it's a replacement contract if you reallocate funds. So it should provide substantially the same scope and purpose, and it's up to us to document that. So in this case, it would be community violence intervention. If you want to get specific, it would be this via rewards for crime reporting and marketing the program for that. But any reallocation or replacement just needs to substantially say the same scope and purpose, whatever we can document that as.
Is that a case of us making the argument for why this is similar?
So the Department of Treasury ideally likes to say that if a contract cannot be fulfilled, you are replacing it with some other vendor who can do the same type of thing, same purpose, same scope. In this case, yeah, we would have to put in a new contract with someone else that says we're replacing this purpose of another contract with this vendor or agency with the same scope and purpose as much as possible.
Thanks. I mean, I'm interested in reallocating these funds. I think I'm interested in hearing options. I'd also like to dig into the regulations for how we can use it, but I guess I just wanted to voice that to the board.
Yeah, this is one, I would say if we haven't received documentation by the, in July, I would like the executive's office to come with some sort of concrete idea of where we could maybe move this money to. It's just been stalled here for a very long time, and this is half the money. So, yeah, so I would say if they are going to, if they haven't told us what they've spent the money on since March, that, at least for me, I would say, tell them they have to tell us, and that at the July meeting, if we're not satisfied with what they told us, we're taking it and finding, because I do think there's other agencies that could do this kind of work, but I mean, it's just been stalled for a very long time.
One more note. I mean, they could have spent this on advertising, right? I mean, minimum. But what I do want to flag here is that I don't want a bill to come to us that says that they've spent this money mostly on advertising. I mean, maybe earlier on that would have made sense, but I would hate for the major communication that we get from this organization to be we're spending it on advertising to get more tips.
Ms. Carter.
We just had 4 murders in the Black community. That money could be used as tip money to help solve some of these murders that's going on in the community. So I would not want to touch this money. Give them time. That's what I thought that it was there for. We increased the amount in hoping to persuade community members to work with Crime Stoppers in order to solve some of these crimes. So I wouldn't want to touch it. Thank you.
Ms. Furtado.
No, I mean, to Chair, or to Board Member Carter's point, I would agree we wouldn't want to move it for the purpose. My question is if especially given everything that's been going on, if Crime Stoppers isn't getting the, do you know what I mean? Maybe there's another agency that has better connections to the community that would be more likely to get a response. So it wouldn't be taking this money and moving it to another purpose. It would be taking this money for this purpose and maybe letting another group try. If Crime Stoppers isn't getting the response, that would just be my only suggestion. So let's see how this plays out in July, and if it doesn't play out, maybe we have a conversation about, is there another service provider that maybe has more of a level of trust that would be getting the phone calls so that this money could serve the purpose that it was meant to serve.
Okay, so anyone else have, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. I did meet with Crime Stoppers this week, and it seems like I gathered from them the assurance that they would spend this money. My concern, though, $106,000 or half. Is this as of April or as through the half of the year?
They're at 48,000. It's on the bottom of the previous page.
On page 3, item C.
No, that's a different entity.
Yeah,
Crime Stoppers on the bottom of the first page.
I'm done with Crime Stoppers. Sorry.
Oh,
so
we haven't moved on to that yet.
Thank you.
Anyone else on Crime Stoppers?
Oh, I thought we were talking H3.
Okay, so the consensus I get is we want a firm plan from Crime Stoppers for our July meeting. So if Kathy, you could communicate that to them, we would appreciate that. All right, H3 Coalition First Followers, they have $106,000 remaining. They plan to spend all that. The contract ends in September. We've had communications with them, and I understand they may have had some changes to how they were going to use the money to do this. Is that right?
I'm sorry, that must be a typo. I believe their contract ends this month on June 30th.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
Sure.
They indicated that they will submit the documentation. We were talking about if they could submit it, soon after June 30th. The activities need to occur by June 30th, and then if they could submit the reporting documentation by, mid-July so it could be processed, was our thinking. But.
Okay, so our hope would be that by our July meeting, they'll be off our list. Okay. Anyone have any comments on that? Moving on, the sleep program. I'm sorry, Jeff, did you have a comment on that?
Well, I did until I had the update.
Okay.
So that's, I mean, I've met with H3, I've met with First Faller, so it's good to see that they'll be able to submit their invoices and be paid appropriately. That's good. Thank you.
All right, the sleep program has $165,000 remaining. That contract date is September 30th. And earlier, during our earlier discussion, you said we can use that money for installation in addition to purchasing. Is that right?
Yeah, that's already built in to the contract for those services, if needed.
Board member comments, thoughts, questions? Ms. Carter.
So you're working with contractors for the installation portion of it?
So RPC has staff and contractors that work for the installations, and that's what they've been doing prior to this additional outreach to underserved neighborhoods.
Okay, because that's not the information that I got. So I thought the ones that had been distributed was battery operated. It wasn't actually installed. Is that not correct?
So the 3 original neighborhoods and then others still have the install option, and they have installed for clients. The demand wasn't high for that, so the expansion into additional neighborhoods that are underserved, plus providing the equipment, if a person would like it installed or not, a lot of people do not.
A lot of people did not?
That's correct.
Did not want it installed?
Yeah, they wanted to install it themselves.
I don't know how I'm getting conflicted information from the community and then from what you're saying, but like I said, I just had a constituent call me today, and she was told that it wasn't even a program offered through the RPC. Is RPC administrating this program?
So the original 3 neighborhoods are what RPC's focus was, and then when that demand was met, they've been allowed to expand the outreach to work with community agencies to disperse the doorbells for underserved residents.
So is RPC not the only organization dispersing this? I'm trying to figure this out.
Okay, so yeah, so this year they've expanded it, so RPC still provides the equipment, and they're working with community agencies to disperse where we're interested in underserved.
Okay. If you can let the Round Barn location know so they can tell people the right information, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Pugh.
Yes, thank you. I actually just saw the flyer, I believe, today about them RPC handing out these at Jetty Roads Day. Just handing them out, and it did not say anything about installation whatsoever on there that would be provided for them. It just says we're handing them out. And I've talked to some other people too, and it just sounds like they're just handing them out. So that'd be a good idea to put that actually on there too. I don't know I'll have to try to talk to RPC, I guess, to figure out. I mean, I'll be there at J Rose Day anyways, but if they actually are going to tell people, yes, you can install this, call this number, or something like that, I think that would be updated flyer or something like that, because there was a lot of confusion about that went out today. So thank you.
Kathy, what area within RPC is doing the distribution and the installation?
So it's the weatherization team.
It's the weatherization team. So people should, if they contact the weatherization team, that's where they can get better details? Okay. Stephanie.
Kathy, can I ask you to ask RPC to give the board like a brief one-page memo update that includes what community partners that they're working with and what like community events they're going to be at. So for example, I know when we were doing the locks, board member Farney is like all over his social media saying, hey, like this is going to be available that day. We can't do that because we don't know what that is. So there might be things in our districts that we could help promote if we knew what they were. If there are expanded just zip, sub census tracts or whatever that are eligible, what those are, because we could also help advocate. And then a concrete answer to the question of, if you are interested in install, what, not like abstractly, like what is the phone number and email that we should call? Because I think the board could probably help advocate for some of this, but we just don't really know unless we happen to see a flyer or something like that. We don't really have the plan, so that I think would be super beneficial. And see if she could get it to us by July 1st.
Michelle.
I just want to clarify on the installation piece, just a reminder, we expanded from homeowners to tenants as well. So, this idea of installation, a lot of people don't want it like hardwired. They want just the adhesive backing so they can take it with them at their next place. So I'm not sure if we have some confusion on the concept of installation there. And also, if you, as a member, would like a stack to walk your district and hand them out yourself, that would be amazing. So send me an email and tell me how many you want, and we will get them to you, and you can deliver them and install them and do all of the pieces yourself. And you know exactly in your neighborhoods, in your districts where they need to be. So that'd be very helpful.
Anyone else on this? All right. Household assistance, RPC household assistance. They have $123,914 remaining. That contract date is September 30th. And that's utility, rent, and residential security deposit help.
Yeah. So in May, they started assisting with utility bills and specifically water. And so they've requested a reimbursement for that in the past week. And then they'll continue to spend down the bulk of it this summer is what their plan is. Yeah.
And I'm guessing they're pretty confident that that's going to
Yeah, Lisa indicated she would keep us posted if this spend rate slows down. Yeah.
Board members, questions, comments on that one? Okay. Yeah, Mr. Wilson.
It's more of a thought. On the RPC household assistance, you have assurance that $150,000 remaining is going to be spent, I think that's what you said, by September. I mean, if there is a challenge that this cannot be done for the targeted population, can that be used for homeless veterans and other veterans that need household assistance? Does still come within that rubric? Or
As long as it can assist with utility bills or rent or security deposits, those are the categories.
so that does fit in that category. That's good to know.
Those individuals should be applying now
Yeah.
to this program. There's no reason for them to be waiting. If you know people in that category that need assistance, they can apply now.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll check with the VAC and see if they know people.
Anyone else? All right. Small business assistance, the Chamber of Commerce e-commerce platform. They have $25,334 remaining. That contract date is September 30th. And their most recent communications earlier this month again, they have a plan.
Yeah, Laura indicated that they could use the remaining funding towards training for the e-commerce platform and e-commerce in general.
Ms. Carter.
I just shake my head because I am so disappointed by, a lot of things that this board has done, and especially with this small business program. What you should do, what you should direct the EDC to do is go by some of these businesses and offer some advertisement or something for them, to help bring more people through the door. You waited last minute to roll this program out, and
it's sad. Like I said, I've just been taken away by this whole process of how we communicate with each other. Me and Dr. Storr, we were meeting with business owners. They're telling us their struggles, and then we're waiting on one person to organize this program. That's what we kept on getting. Oh, such and such isn't such and such, and then now we're here. And it's just like you just fumbled the ball. And a lot of people in this community could have used this money, especially during the pandemic, and it's not been successful. So, make this useful. Reach out to business owners. Stop with all the criteria and the check marks and all of that. Just genuinely put some boots on the ground. Go to businesses. Ask them what are their needs. What can you do to push this money through so we don't have to send it back? Thank you.
Any other board member? Mr. Wilson.
Thank you again. Remind me, this is the low hurdle grant program. Is that what it is, or is it something else?
We were on the Chamber of Commerce.
This is on the Chamber of Commerce e-platform.
Oh, so I'm looking at the wrong line item then. Looking on page 3.
Yeah, you were on item 5A.
No, 5B.
Yeah, we're still on 5A.
It's just following.
We can move on to that if we're ready to just move on to that. Oh, Stephanie, go ahead, and then we'll.
If they're anticipating planning to use this for trainings for businesses to use their e-commerce platform, which I think would be very reasonable, use of these things, I think it would be reasonable from this board to ask them for a schedule of those anticipated trainings by our July meeting, given that they're supposed to have it expended by September. So could that be a request that the board, also, again, because we might be able to direct small businesses in our districts, hey, that this is available, these training dates are available, and help advertise that, especially if we could get some sort of, social media graphic that we could put up.
Moving on to the EDC grants. This is the one with $400,000 remaining to disperse. The contract date is the end of this month. What do we know there?
Yeah, so Carly communicated last week and this week that they've allocated the majority of it with $103,000 remaining. We would just still need the reporting and documentation for that to be able to reimburse them. And then she also requested that the remaining $103,000 they could spend by October and try to do one more round of grants now that they have a new SBD, Small Business Development Center director.
Board members. Stephanie.
I think if they could get us the documentation on the first 300,000, then I'd be fine with extending it to October. If they can't get us the documentation on that 300,000 by our July meeting, then I don't see why we would extend it. I think the board just takes that back and, I don't know, we give it directly. Like, I mean, we don't necessarily have to have the EDC involved. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that last 100,000 to just be hanging out there. So if they could get us documentation by the July meeting, then I would say sure. And if they can't, then I think we take it back and we do it.
Ms. Carter.
I know we pulled from this fund. What was the beginning fund for this? Was it 1 million or 2 million? I know we reallocated some of the funds out of that, but was it 1 million? Thinking about something else. It was 1 million.
Okay.
Right. So we actually only got to spend $500,000 from 1 million, where we know businesses could have used that money during that time, had the program rolled out in a timely fashion. So I just wanted to point that out to the public as well. Thank you.
Anyone else on this one?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
I understand B, the purpose is grant assistance. Is that all it is writing grants, helping people write a grant? It says grant assistance in scope.
Giving people money.
I got it, it says grant assistance.
The grant would be the money.
It's assisting them by giving them a grant.
Okay. Is there any reason why, if you can't do this part, is there any way the balance can be used for small businesses in the community? And so as long as it's under the heading small business assistance, it doesn't matter what the subheading is?
That's exactly what the plan would be, is to get it to small businesses.
Okay.
Just to reiterate my proposal was they say they have documentation for roughly $300,000. My proposal was, if that is indeed the case and it is done by our July meeting, then we give them until October to give away the other 100,000. If that is not the case, that we as a board ourselves direct the count, like we do it, so that this money is spent for small businesses. I don't think it doesn't have to be some big hurdle application. It could be pretty straightforward. But there's no reason that we should not be able to spend this money in this category by. So if they can deliver on their promise and give us what they wanted, or give us the documentation for what they said they have given out by the July meeting, go forward and live well. And if not, we take it back and the county does it directly.
Beth.
What is our usual deadline for things to be put into the agenda for the county board meeting for July? It's on the 23rd, I believe.
It would be the Friday before. So the 23rd is the Thursday, so we'd be looking at the 17th.
Can we set a hard deadline for, say, the 15th?
I like that.
So we don't have this rolling in and email the day of the meeting?
All these folks that we're wanting things from, we want it by the 15th?
That would be reasonable.
Could you do that? Okay. All right, the last item on here is water infrastructure. This is Sangamon Valley. Public Water District has about $64,000 left. That contract date is September 30th. And we haven't heard from them since last month. Is that right?
So at the end of May, they submitted additional invoices for reimbursement, and they indicated they would respond with more detailed plan, and we haven't heard back yet. The invoices that they submit for reimbursement, they do have a contract in place with an engineering firm up to the $500,000, so they plan to spend it. It's just a matter of getting the invoices in time.
Ms. Carter?
But you did mention that there were other people that were basically waiting to proceed with different projects if they could use the additional funding.
So the challenge with any of these is that it still has to serve substantially the same scope and purpose.
Right.
So as long as we can defend or define that's at an approvable level. In this case, it indicates that it would be a water main extension design work north of Mahomet. It would be up to the county and the board to determine what is definable as same scope and purpose to replace this contract, if you would like to replace it.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Locke?
So Kathy, to that end, like, would we be limited to only reallocating also to the same, like, that same exact area, or could it be another rural water district?
That again would be up for something that we could draft and make sure that we can defend it if it's audited or needed further discussion. Whatever we consider substantially the same scope and purpose, they don't really go into more detail, except we have already reported it underwater, of course, and it would just need to be same scope and purpose. So if you want to say it's another water project with design work, even though it's not the same location, we could try to defend it. Yeah.
So just for the board, and speaking with the Farm Bureau, they have a list that they could give to us. And speaking with Mr. Farney, he can name one right off the top of his head that would use this for engineering work, has it ready to go, and could give us a bill kind of immediately, or close to immediately. Certainly, we could get the funds spent, and I'd hate to be waiting and then all of a sudden, like, nope, they're never coming to us, and then this money goes back. So this is the one that I think is, from my perspective, most reassignable.
Could we get a, something from them by July 15th as well?
I will request.
Thank you. Yeah, Stephanie?
I would say by July 15th, with the understanding that if they cannot deliver that, that our 6 rural members, because I think this is your decision, to be blunt, like which project y'all want. That's how we decided this money from the beginning. Like the people from those districts decided, hey, this is what, so if the understanding that if, because the one thing about this is if we go with another agency, we have to do an IGA, which is a whole step. So like if we wait till September and then we have to do like we don't know until September and we have to do the IGA, that's October. I mean, that's just a ridiculous, undoable timeline. So I say, yeah, they submit stuff to us by July 15th. And if not, you work with this caucus to come to us with a proposal with the understanding that we would then put it on the board for August. And if it is engineering, at least that will be quicker than construction. Yeah, I don't see how we wait till September. It just would not be doable. So I think that's a good timeline.
Ms. Carter?
I would like to put out there that, and I've been in talk with the city of Champaign as well, there isn't a fence on the south side of the water retention pond that have a lot of our constituents out there kind of worried with the playground being so close. Miss Lacey Rain has assured me that there will be like prairie grass that eventually will grow up and maybe cover some of the entrance going down to the water retention pond. But I would put it out there that I don't know if we could get a fence out there. That's what I'm advocating for right now. I don't know why it was put on the north side, but not on the south side. What I get, they want the green land and the flowers and all of that good stuff. But I think now we're more looking at a security hazard that may be there with all the kids. They are loving that space. I smile every time I walk past, but I am also scared if something does happen. Right now, that grass is very low and it is close to the water. So, if there is some overages, if we can maybe put it towards a fence. Thanks.
Anyone else? All right, that's the last item on there. Any further comments about the overall thing?
Is the executive office clear about all the deadlines we just put
I've
forward?
been jotting notes down, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Kathy.
All right, we are now at board communications. Mr. Esri.
Thank you. I guess you could say it's kind of time for my annual, the crops are getting tall enough now that they're starting to obstruct intersections out in the rural areas. The corn, I haven't seen many beans yet that are that tall, but they'll be getting there. But I definitely know there's some corn on some intersections that now then if you're in a car sitting lower, you need to actually pull out and stop. You can't see ahead of the intersection to do like, I imagine most people, I'll admit I do at times, do a rolling stop. Slow down, but maybe don't fully stop if there's absolutely no one else around. I mean, but you have to start thinking about that and can't do that anymore at all intersections anyway. And real quick, for those that don't know, the reason I make that announcement is it was early in my board, being on this board, I was headed in, so probably 13, 14 years ago, I was headed into my caucus. It was about 4:30, and it was later in the year. The corn was full height, tasseled. I think it was already pollinated. But a lady did a rolling stop at a cross intersection. I had the right of way, and I T-boned her. Totaled both vehicles. I fortunately walked away with just a slightly stiff neck for the next 2 days, not even a seatbelt bruise. she went to the hospital. First I saw her, she was in a, I was the first one to go over to her vehicle. She was having a trauma-induced seizure. But I have no doubt that the corn on that because it was on the corner that was between her and me. I mean, the biggest thing was, of course, she didn't do a full, complete stop and look, but that corn definitely played a small part of that. So, yeah, if you're out and about in the country, start paying a little more attention at intersections. Thanks.
Ms. Carter.
Well, I have some great news. I have a wonderful partnership with a cosmetology program that I will be working with, and I'm leaving this board. I do realize that this board has lost focus of what we're doing. I find myself scratching my head a lot of times after I leave here, and so that I'm in a good mental space, I am resigning as of this evening. You know, I just look back and I thought once I joined this board, this is a group of people that want to change the community and stand up for what's right. And that has been not the case. I'm looking at a lot of emotional, unstable creatures that have lost focus of the reason of being here. You know, I was over at my new partnership, and I was embraced with this warming feeling of a welcoming feeling. I wasn't told about any previous Black women that had been in my position before me. Nobody talked negative about them. I really do think this board has a problem with Black women. I never really valued any of your opinions of me because at the end of the day, I show up. I think I've been a very vocal person in my community, in my district, just expressing and advocating the needs of my district. I've been embarrassed so many times just being in settings with people talking about this board. And so I'm looking forward to this new chapter in my life. You know, I wanted to get something straight and clear from the last meeting. I had someone screenshot me communications that went unanswered in emails. Okay, we're so vocal when it comes to the auditor. The auditor situation has just torn this board apart. I look at Eric left without even a goodbye, and this is my goodbye. In order for me to be here and be 100% involved, I have to trust your leadership, and I don't. You know, I don't. This is so personal. I look at, you know, some of the people on this board and they think being rude is a flex. Then I go in the community and then I hear people talk about these same people at the U of I, the bad experiences that they've had, the negative talk that they've had. You know, it's the same group of people that have torn this board apart, and it's embarrassing. We're vocal on certain subjects, but then we're silent on others, and that makes this board ineffective. So I'm looking forward to this next chapter in my life, and other opportunities that I've been presented with. I'm going to be building some homes. I'm volunteering to build some homes. You know, I make myself useful. It's not about belittling anybody or degrading or trying to make somebody feel bad about themselves. That's not my purpose. And it doesn't uplift anybody. It makes you look, and it looks bad, you know. It shows your self-esteem when that's your only purpose, your only goal is to show how bad our auditor is. But there's no other accountability nowhere on this board. And it's just been truly shameful. You know, we haven't really truly accomplished anything. You know, so I wish you all the best of luck, and hopefully one day you guys can get closer to administrating the procedures of the county board, because we've strayed away from that. So I wish you all the best, and I hope you do the same for me. Thanks.
You.
Yes, just remind still people, it's still Pride Month, even though we don't celebrate it here until the students come back. It still is everywhere else in the world. Second thing is we are 269 hours from July 1st, and that's the 2024 audit. So hopefully we can get it done before then, but it's getting close fast. So I hope we get it done. Thank you.
Barney.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to all of the folks that did so much work after the storms that came through last week to do things like restore the power and get the trees out of the way and get people back up and running. Linemen in this community were working insane hours for several days in a row and away from their families and in dangerous positions, as we saw over in Decatur, where a lineman was shocked while he was restoring power. So my compliments to all those hardworking folks that get us recovered quickly after a storm like that.
Excuse me, Ms. Ares.
Yeah, since we're wrapping up Pride Month, I wanted to mention that there is a collective out there that I really appreciate what they do. They're called CUQTBIPOC, just for anyone out there who wants to look them up. They're a collective that was founded by queer and neurodivergent people of color, and they have a desire to uplift Black and brown queer joy and hold space for shared experience. What they like what that whole acronym stands for is actually queer and trans, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And so they're a Champaign Urbana collective that sometimes they have walks. They go on walks, and that it's a collective where you can communicate, and they do these nature walks. They'll meet up, and it's on a calendar. It's pretty well structured, I think, and it's a nice community to be a part of.
Anyone else? Mr. Wilson.
Happy Juneteenth.
Seeing no one else with a raised hand, as we have no further business, this meeting is adjourned.